Top of the morning. It's 7:13. Yeah, I know. We just had difficulties a couple times. 7:13, Wednesday morning. Excited to be with you right here. Winning in the Morning Show, getting started. We're talking, if you know why your why is more important. 1 minute, share it, like it, follow along. Make sure you share this great message this morning. Winning in the Morning right here with your winning coach, Kinsley Jordan. You got 50 seconds until we get started. That's the good news. There's a lot of good news. That's right. 20 seconds right here, winning in the morning. Your host, Kinsley Jordan, bringing you the encouragement you're looking for each and every morning. And we're specifically, I'm very excited. As you know, I'm a very excitable person. That's not shocking. Very excitable for multiple reasons. Because this topic, with what we're diving into, man, it is importante. Welcome to Winning in the Morning. I'm your winning coach, Kinsley Jordan. I'm telling you, 7:14 Central Standard Time. This is the moment that you get up and start running circles in your kitchen while you're getting your kids ready because they're just like, Mom, Dad, what is going on? Why are you so happy? I'll tell you why. It's because it's time to get winning right now. Yeah, we're talking about why understanding your why is so important. And it is. It's critical. And there's so much here. There's so much to... seriously, there's so much to discuss with this because we overlook this all the time. And we're going to start off first. The very beginning, we're going to start off with something that Simon Sinek, you know, I love to bring Simon Sinek into it. But he discusses, he wrote the book, Start With Your Why. You know, and it has this point that a lot of people know how they do something. They know what it is that they do, but a lot of people don't necessarily understand why it is that they're doing it. And this is why it's so important this morning, is because there's so many times in my life that I found myself being in the same trap of doing the same thing multiple times over and over and over and over again. But if I actually stopped for a second to take a look at what I was doing, it didn't necessarily make any sense that I would continue doing it. And this is why this morning, when you dive into starting off your morning ride and getting into a place of focus, to be able to focus on, okay, what is it? Not only what is it that I'm doing this morning, but do I know actually why I have prioritized the things that I prioritize? Why is it that I'm focusing on the things that I'm focusing on? Why is it that I have carved out the time in my day to do what it is that I'm going to do? Now, I know most of you are getting ready to go to work this morning and you're saying, well, Kinsley, why I do that is because I need to make money. I got a house to pay for and mouths to feed and a car to pay for and several things. So that's why I do what I do. But what is it beyond that? I mean, that's a great service level. That's a great service level discussion. But why is it that you are focusing in the areas that you're focusing on? I know it's important for us to have a career and to be able to focus in these things. But why is it that you're focusing specifically in that career? Why is it that you're focusing specifically on making money in that fashion? Why, when we ask these questions, these why questions, it gets very challenging. And this is why we dive into it this morning about the why, is because if you're not able to articulate specifically why it is that you're doing something, then we get into this place of frustration, and we start not only being frustrated, but it's almost as though we have an angst or an anger or bitterness towards what we're doing. Sometimes our job, sometimes it's towards relationships, sometimes it's towards people that we care about very much. Because we don't actually understand why it is that we're doing. For example, there's been several times where I've gone to do something with the kids, and it's like nothing is going as planned. Nothing is going like I wanted it to go. You know, this is going to be a nice family outing, and it was going to be this fun thing. And then, you know, the kids have a gripey attitude, and then Dad has a gripey attitude, and then the whole thing just starts falling apart. And you're like, this was supposed to be fun. But the thing that has been able to pull me back multiple times is knowing why it is that we're taking the time to go do and to go focus and to set aside family time specifically. Why is it? And for me, when I look at that specific example, I realize that the why is because if I do not take intentional time to set aside, to focus, to prioritize my children and teaching them what it is that I've learned in my 30-some years of experience, what is actually important, the lessons that are actually important. If I don't understand why we have set that time aside, then I'm not going to be good in what it is that we're doing during that time, or I'm not going to be rightly focused to teach the lessons that I need to teach them. Because you can check the box. You can spend all day long just checking the box and saying, well, I mean, we always spent family time and we got some things done. And, you can check the box all day long, but what is the point of doing that? Is it just to be able to give your allocation of time to somebody, to a spouse? Like, I can tell you right now how that would go. If you sat down with your spouse and you said, okay, we got 45 minutes. So, it's yours. Going to focus on you. And then you didn't do anything to engage. That's not good quality time. That doesn't even make sense. That's not good quality time at all. It's the focus of when you are spending that time, when you are focusing in on why and knowing down to the root of what it is that you are trying to accomplish in that time and why you're accomplishing it, gives us the ability to truly focus in and to truly be all present, all intentional, completely there. This is something that I've had to work so incredibly hard for, is because so many times you can look at the calendar and it can just be jam-packed. And I asked myself this last night, because yesterday was just kind of a crazy day. I looked at everything that was on the calendar and I said, okay, why? Why is it that I'm accomplishing each one of these things? Why is it that I'm focusing on each one of these things? Why is it that somehow out of the one resource that I have that is so incredibly valuable, why did this thing make my priority list for me to be able to spend 1 hour's worth of my time on, or 30 minutes worth of my time on it? And there was a couple things on the calendar yesterday that I really did not have a good justification for. It got on there because somebody else said, hey, we need to talk about this. And the reality was we probably didn't need to talk about that. It could have been an email, could have been a text message, could have been information. But it becomes the tyranny of the now. Well, I got to focus on the things that are right in front of me right now. Well, then you're always stuck in this constant turn of accomplishing the things that are directly ahead of you, and you're never intentional with what you're doing because you don't actually know why you're doing it. You're just reacting. I don't know if this has been the case in your life. I don't know if this has been something that has really stood out to you, but this really gets back to why Simon Sinek specifically talks about and focuses on, and why he even wrote a book specifically talking about understanding why, starting with the why. Why do we do the things that we do? And if you don't know and you don't have a good reason for it and you can't explain it, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. You probably shouldn't be spending time in that area of focus. So let's hop over to it real quick to be able to just show you what we're talking about specifically with how Simon Sinek does. He's in an interview with this, but I think this is really important for you to be able to listen in. So here we go. Oh boy. Yep. It would make a lot more sense if in the process of this, I actually put the output. This is the beauty of innovation, trying things like there you go.
Companies transform because they have figured this out, what the why really is and how to communicate it in such a way that it becomes quite powerful?
The simple answer is of course. Companies that were maybe just financially driven, shareholder, that's all it was, money, no purpose, no cause underlying. People liked the job, everything was fine. Nobody loved it, They didn't necessarily trust leadership, even though they may get along with them. And when the cause becomes clearly articulated and visceral, it's visceral for the leaders as well. And so you asked me sort of what's the right way to communicate it. The interesting is what's the right way to talk about your kids? What's the right way to talk about your marriage? I'm like, well, if it's a successful marriage and you love your kids, you ooze with passion.
Wow.
When somebody starts talking about their marriage and it's not doing so well, we can tell. We can tell when the passion's not there. And it's the same for work, which is if you truly have a love, if the leadership truly has a belief in the mission that you're trying to advance, I don't need to give you an instruction manual on how to talk about it. It'll pour out of you. In fact, quite the opposite. We'll have to get you to stop, right? I think the one thing that a lot of leaders miss the opportunity, or they take for granted, is meetings, quite frankly, which is when we start a meeting, let's say it's reviewing the budget, right?
Yeah.
So everybody comes in and like, all right, let's pull out the budget and pull out the Excel sheet, and we'll start looking at the numbers, but no context is ever given. And I'm a great believer that you should start every meeting to the point that people make fun of you, reminding people why this meeting exists. What's the purpose of this meeting? It's not actually the budget, right? Guys, we wake up every single day to find the cure for cancer. It's the thing that drives every single one of us. And if we do well financially, we have the fuel to achieve our goal. If we don't do well financially, then right there, we're not going to find the cure for cancer.
Okay, I got to pause it right there. Because this is not only profound in nature, but it's something you really got to grab hold of. Listen to what he said right there. If you know why it is you're doing, then you can be fully committed, fully present. You can really realize what it is that the steps that follow, or the time that follows, or the things that you're going to be doing, you understand the why. You understand, why are we even here? Why is it that I have spent time, that I've taken time out of my day to focus specifically on this meeting, or this time, or this event? This is the thing. Time is the only thing you're never going to get back. You're never going to get time back. You're never going to get the capability back to be able to spend this second, this moment. You've made a choice that you're clicking on this, you're watching this, whether this is now live or whether this is later. You've specifically said, I'm going to watch this. Maybe it's out of relationship with me. Maybe it's because you like my craziness. Maybe it's because there's actually something great to the content of this. But you've made a determination why you are literally watching this. The real question to me that I would ask you is, why do you feel the need why is it that this show, why is it that Winning in the Morning has become something that you have prioritized in this moment right now? Why is it? Is it because it's out of relationship with me? If you don't know why, and you're just scrolling through, and you're just, it was just something that was on the feed, then I would encourage you, maybe don't watch. And you're like, Kinsley, what are you talking about? Why would you tell me not to watch your morning show? Why would you tell me not to do that? Is because if you don't understand why you're watching, it's a waste of your time. If I've sat through a lot of great literally, we were talking about this yesterday in a meeting that we had at church. There's a lot of great motivational speeches. There really are. But if it doesn't drive any action, if it doesn't stir any conflict within you, if it doesn't bring the necessity to be able to bring resolution to something that you hear what the speaker is saying, and the speaker is encouraging you to think differently, or do differently, or change your life in one way or another, if it doesn't draw this conflict resolution for you to then take an action step, then really it's nothing more than pontificated words that have done nothing but theorize an idea, and it hasn't impacted you at all. And that's a waste of your time. So I would ask you, we're going to give it right back to the clip. I would ask you, if you're watching this right now, if you have made it a consistent part of your morning to watch the Winning in the Morning show, why? Why is it? Is it because you want to grow? Is it because you want to do something? You want to think differently? You want to be challenged? And if that's the case, if that's your why, is that this has become a source of encouragement and growth to you, then I would ask you, what is the action step you are going to take literally from today? Again, we're talking about knowing your why. So I'll throw it to you, I'll drive it to you, that this is why this is such a critical piece, is for us to be able to ask this question continues to put importance upon what we do and when we do it. So, okay, let's get back to finish up the clip with Simon Sinek, because this is really, really good, and I don't want you to miss it. Here it is.
We will not be able to contribute at all. So the reason we're having this budget meeting is to make sure that everything's on track, and to make sure that that this is advancing that. Because when we leave that context out, it all becomes about this, and that's when we get that myopia. That's when we get that finite mindset where we can't see past the numbers. So it's up to the leaders, to the point where others make fun of them.
So Mark, this is a practical tip. We have 400 leaders listening.
Yeah.
And let's say there are 5 meetings a day, 200 days a year. That's 1,000 times 400,000 opportunities in the next 12 months.
To reinforce.
Yeah.
To reinforce. And I mean, I'm obsessive about it. Like the PowerPoint. The one page of your PowerPoint presentation that gets gets a longer read than any other page is the cover page. Because it's up on the screen while we're waiting for the meeting to start. Everybody's just sort of hanging out. There it is on the screen. Everybody's just waiting. Every other page is just a minute each. 3, 4, 5 minutes. We're just sitting, reading that page, or it's sitting on someone's desk, just lying there. And it just says budget, 2021 budget, that's all, marketing plan, that's all it says. So I'm a great believer that the cover of that page should be the big bold words of the context, why we're doing this. And the small words underneath are, and the money we need to do it, and the marketing plan we need to do it, and this year's, HR plan to do it. But that cause needs to be front and center all the time.
Wow, that is, oh my gosh, that is so, when you think about what that means, when you think about what that says, when you think about what that actually is what is it that you're setting before you? Good morning, by the way. Brandon, it's so good to see you. Anybody else is watching and listening, thanks so much for joining us. That last statement that he said, what is it that you place before you? The Bible says it's for the lack of vision that the people perish. What is the vision? What is it that you place before your eyes? What is it that you prioritize? What is it that you say and put in front of you that drives you each and every day? I would venture to guess, and I'm just saying statistically, I'm just saying on average for most people, is we wake up in the morning, we get dressed, we get the kids around, or maybe we don't get the kids around. We get up, we have our cup of coffee, we grab the stuff we need to, and we rush into our day more out of reaction than we are action. We're more trying to catch up and beat the clock than we are necessarily trying to do something intentional that we have chosen of what we want to do. To which I would ask, just as Simon Sinek did, if you can explain why you are doing the things you're doing, if you can explain why it is that you've chosen to prioritize the things you have, or why is it that you wake up late and don't wake up, set the alarm for whatever time, 6:30, and then you sleep until 7:15, and then you rush around and the kids are in a bad mood, you're in a bad mood, and you're getting out the door and you're like, oh my gosh, maybe you're listening to this now and you're like, Kinsley, I am in a bad mood. Like I'm 20 minutes behind right now. Why is it that is what we've chosen to do? And if our why of what it is we're wanting to accomplish, if our why is that we want to start being more ahead, and we want to start thinking more ahead, and we want to be more effective in what we're doing, and we want to start being more intentional with what we're doing, then we need to know what is it that drives us. Is your why that you want to be very intentional with every second that you have? Is your why that you want to have every one of your focuses be in an area of alignment that is important to you? Is your why that you want to create as much space as you possibly can to be able to pour into your kids and to invest into your children and to teach them? Is your why because you want to experience as much time as you can with your spouse and that relationship and grow together? What is it that you are doing throughout the day that drives you? And the baseline question of what we talked about today is literally, why? Do you know why you are doing what you're doing? If you don't know, and you say, I've never thought about this before, I really have no idea why I'm doing what I'm doing, then I would ask you to not only think about this differently, think about this more deeply, but I would ask you, good morning, Sarah. So good to see you. Sarah Block on with us. I would ask you to ask that today. Why is it that you're doing what you're doing? Are you working at the job that you're at because it was convenient? Or are you working at the job with the intentionality of knowing that it's a stepping stone to be able to get you to the place that you want to be able to go, to be able to get you doing the things that you want to be doing? What is the intentionality of what you're doing? Why is it that you're doing what you're doing right now and today? When you think about that, when you know your why, when you wake up in the morning, for me, all the clarity in the world was brought. It was 3 years ago. It was actually 3 years ago. 3 years ago when I realized that my purpose in life, literally my why, is to be able to connect people to their passion for a purpose, to connect them to the God kind of fulfillment that He intended for them and He created in them. That fulfillment of walking in the passion that He has placed. And when I'm talking about passion, I'm not talking about a hobby. I'm talking about the gifting, the calling, the anointing, the drive, the talent, the skill that is innate and unique to them. Only them, only you, because you are an original. You're not a copy. You're an original. You are an original you, refined and created in the image of your Creator. That is who you are. And He put in creative ability and skill and talent into you that not everybody else has. And frankly, a lot of people need what you have. The question is, that I'll drive back to today, that I want you to walk away with is, do you know why it is that you're doing the things you're doing? If you don't know why it is that you're doing the things you're doing, I would encourage you to start asking the question, Why is it you spend the time doing the thing you're doing? Why is it, do you have intentionality with it? Good morning, Taryn. I was wondering if you were going to be out there, starting off the morning with the right stuff. Good stuff. Why is it you're doing what you're doing? This is not a negative thing. It's not a negative question. It's just asking, why am I focusing on what I'm focusing on? If you have a good reason for it, if you say I'm focusing on it because I'm making great money, we're getting ourselves out of debt, we're getting ourselves ahead, this is why I wake up, then as you experience those relationships, as you experience that job, as you're there doing what you're doing, when you know why you're doing it, you can be at the top of your game. This is why this mentality is so critical, is because those who are fulfilled perform at a higher level. I kid you not. I have the data to be able to back it. There is article after article. There's empirical evidence after empirical evidence showing that the more fulfilled you are, the more connected you are to the things that you love to do, that you were made to do, the higher you will perform, and the higher that you perform, the better the result that you see that follows on. This is why we're actually starting to think differently in the military, in the Air Force. We're starting to think differently as to how is it that we connect people to their passion, because those who are fulfilled will stay, and we have retainability. We can keep them employed. We can keep them there. I would ask you this. There's a lot of reasons why people jump to 3 and 4 jobs in their lifetime, is because they go from they're fulfilled for a little bit and then they're unfulfilled, fulfilled and then unfulfilled, fulfilled and then unfulfilled. But is it somebody else's responsibility to connect you to your passion for a purpose, or is it your responsibility to realize the value that you have, the skills that you have, the talent that you have, and start asking the question, why am I doing what I'm doing, and how can I be intentional with it? Friends, I would tell you, it's our responsibility as individuals. I got to take ownership for the gifts I got. I could be sitting here still thinking about starting a morning show, or I could be sitting here doing it right here with Winning in the Morning. Yours truly, Kinsley Jordan. Listen, it's been a lot of fun. Whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, I don't know where else, Instagram, Clubhouse, wherever you're watching from, wherever you're streaming from. Listen, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you share this today. If you don't mind, go over and hit the subscribe button. And the other thing is, on Friday, join us Friday. Truly, we got a great show coming up for you on Friday. Seriously, right over there. I always screw up. It's right there. Bing. Right there. Right there. Right there. If you don't mind, go ahead and hit subscribe, follow. Friends, you're the best. Thanks for joining us. Get winning in the morning right here and start asking yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why is it that I'm doing? We got one more. Taryn right there said, hey, you have a good day. Thanks for the positivity in the mornings. Absolutely. Taryn, glad to be able to help. All right, everybody, right here from the Winning Network, Winning in the Morning. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys later. Join us Friday. Make sure you mark the calendar.